This is Stormbringer TV. My name is Mike and I'm standing here in front of wonderful Cologne Cathedral, but that's not what we're here for today. We are here for, well, you will see. That's what we're here for, because in there will be Geddy Lee, famous bass player and vocalist of Rush, Canadian super band. And we will go in there and meet him maybe for a little interview. Let's see. So Geddy, nice to have you here in Europe back again, and I hope you enjoyed your stay. And yeah, we don't have you here around so very often.
No, it's nice to be here.
And you got a new album out, I think the 20th, and it's called Clockwork Angels. And I guess normally it's up to Neil to explain the whole concept behind the albums. Could you do the job for him and explain a bit the concept about Clockwork Angels?
Sure. Clockwork Angels is a project we've been working on and off over the last couple of years. It's over 60 minutes of music, 12 different pieces. Each piece of music is individual, quite unique in its own, in what it says individually, but it's connected by a storyline that was inspired. Neil was inspired by reading books like Voltaire's Candide and Joseph Conrad's The Anarchist, and he came up with this idea to tell the story of a young man setting out into the world full of optimism and a belief system based on all things will work for the best. And as he sets out on his life, many things that he doesn't foresee come along, and I try to shake his belief system, and it's a question of the kind of person he ends up at the end of his life and whether that belief system is still intact or not.
And on the cover we see a clock with 12 symbols. They are relating to the songs, I guess?
Yes, they relate to the songs. They relate to the concept and the world that we've created that this young man lives in. He lives in a world that they believe there is a watchmaker who controls their time on the planet, and obviously it's full of kind of fun metaphors, and kind of we wanted to create a really kind of cool world that is, kind of has a look of a steampunk universe, where steampunk is a visual style that many people have used in the past. We're just another one that's come along to borrow it for our purposes of creating this world, where it's rooted in Victoriana, plus it's very futuristic at the same time. It uses complicated and overcomplicated devices for each and every day, for all the things that exist in this world. And we found it rather suitable for Rush because we seem to look at our music in the same way. It's partly rooted in the past. We try to be adventurous and progressive, yet it's always overcomplicated.
And the time on the clock shows 2112. I guess is some relation to the 2112 album as well, to the storyline, because it's more futuristic, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's just a bit of a joke, I think.
The usual Rush jokes.
A wink,
As usual on Rush albums.
Yeah. We try to at least have one wink.
It's the only one? Or do we have to look for another one?
I don't know, I can't remember. It's fun to look anyway, so.
Okay, so we keep looking.
If you want anymore, let me know.
Okay. The video for Headlong Flight, we see a journey through your past with lots of video sequences all over the years from live concerts put together. How is it for you to look back on the last nearly 40 years in 7.5 minutes flight?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Everywhere I go, there's people always looking at my past now. and I'm really sick of my own past. So, but I like what they did with that little lyric video, because they found old footage and they really gave it a cool kind of atmosphere, and really the song in the storyline of the album. That's a time of the hero's life when he's looking back at his life and saying, despite of all the things that have happened to him, he still would do it all again. And so that's also can be slightly autobiographical in terms of how we look at our lives, musically. And in fact, we use a couple of riffs on that song that are related to riffs we've written in our past. And it all tied in very nicely, because it's nice after so many years and 20 different albums to sit back and look at the things you've done musically in your life, and we don't have any regret about them. And given the chance, yeah, we would do it all again.
So you will do it all again because it was right what you did. There's nothing you regret in your past. Did you start all over again or something?
Well, it's not about regrets. Of course you have regrets. Everybody has regrets in their life. But it was fun. It was an adventure. And I think that's the point of the song. It's not that we would do it all again because it was perfect. No, you do it all again because it was a great adventure, and you learned from it, and it all adds up to be the person you are today. And we're not unhappy. We're kind of, despite all the shit that went down and all the good and bad and whatever you want to call it, it's made us who we are, and that's the point of the song.
And the songs tend to be very long at the new album, about 7 minutes. A few of them are 7 minutes and longer.
We tried to make them longer, but
I don't have to be sorry about that. But my question would be, does this leave room, if you bring the songs on live, does this leave room for you to improvise a bit, or to put some jam session parts in, like in Working Man or something?
We'll figure it out. There's always room for something.
Yeah. So which songs of the new material will go in the live set? Do you know yet?
I don't know. I'm probably going to try to get a lot of them in. I don't know which ones exactly.
You do something in the recording sessions that was different to the past times?
Yeah. This time we had intended for all of us to play together live. That's what we were planning. We got into a big room to do that. But along the way, Neil decided he was going to try a different way of putting his drums together, and he didn't want to rehearse the songs for weeks and then play the same thing over and over and over again. He was after some more spontaneity, and he also knew that he had Nick with us right from the beginning of the writing session this time. So he utilizes Nick being there, and he actually asked Nick to come into the room with him and conduct the song for him. So even if he didn't know the song yet, he knew that Nick would be there, helping him remember which part was which and when was happening. And that enabled Neil to improvise a lot more. And his idea was he wanted to play the song maybe 10 different times, 10 different ways, and leave it up to Nick to choose what he thought were the most exciting parts, the most appropriate drum fills, and together they would work into his final drum patterns. So it was a much more spontaneous way of recording for him, and I think the end result was the feel is much more of Neil pushing himself on the edge rather than over-rehearsing one single part.
But isn't it especially Neil who always changes his setup with every new record, so he tries to keep experimenting with stuff, as you do all? Is this what you keep you going forward as a musician, to always try new stuff, new setups, new sounds?
Yeah, well, I don't know if he has a totally new setup every time, but he's also but he does try to have a different point of view on every album. Try something he hasn't tried in a while, or perfect something he started experimenting with. We're all like that. We all try to get better and try to push ourselves into a different, more accomplished area. Sometimes you try something on one album, it doesn't feel like you ever really got it down, to the point you are happy with it, so you try it again or try something new.
I think the new album is like, for me it's like a mixture of Vapor Trails and Snakes and Arrows. Do you feel the same? It's just like the perfect melting together of the previous two albums.
It had not occurred to me to describe it that way, but if you say so, you're probably in a better position to judge it than me.
Yeah, I just heard it one time now, so
Yeah.
maybe I could judge
That's
it.
your
Yeah,
first impression,
yeah.
That's interesting.
After so many times together with the other two guys, what are the main concerns inside the band? For example, if you go on stage or something, are there any concerns like, oh my God, this and that could happen?
I think our main concern is that we are still alive and moving. I don't think we have any other concerns. We're just trying to keep going, and now that we're getting older, we hope that our abilities stay with us as long as we can.
Speaking of getting older, are you planning to retire at some point of your career, or just drop off stage dead sometime?
In about 30 seconds, I'm going to retire. No, we don't have plans to retire.
You just want to keep going on as long as you can.
You know what? It's not predictable. One of the guys could come in next week and say, "I can't do this anymore," and then that'll be it. So who knows? At the moment, we're all quite happy, but and it looks like we'll do this for a while. But you can't say. It's hard to say.
And with the age, there comes more concerns with like going on tour or something. And I saw you just get yourself a day off after each show on the oncoming American tour. Is this for you to lean back a bit, or is it just for Neil so that he can follow with his bike?
No, it's for me because I can't sing back-to-back shows anymore. It's too hard. So I need a day off after every show. And he needs a day off too after every show.
And Alex too, I guess.
Oh no.
He doesn't.
No, we keep him in a cage. We don't feed him. We don't give him days off. We make him practice on his days off. He's a bad boy.
But he still does well on stage, so yeah, you can keep him.
Well, sometimes he does well. Then we let him eat when he does a good show.
I guess soup. It was soup, I guess.
Only soup. Yeah. Well, look at him. He needs to eat only soup.
So the tour, which is coming in autumn and winter, is just for America, I think. Is there anything planned for Europe too?
Yeah, next spring we'll be over here in Europe.
You know details already?
I don't. Sorry. We were close to having a decision, and it's all changing again. So, but we will be in Europe next spring.
So at least it will be Frankfurt or something.
Oh yeah, I think we're doing 2 shows in Germany.
It would be nice to come around Austria someday.
Yeah, it would. I was in Vienna a couple years ago on holiday. After our last show in Helsinki, my wife and I spent about 5 days in Vienna. We had a great time.
I mean, for a concert.
Oh, that's different. Concert's a different story. I'm talking about eating and drinking.
Yeah, it's a nice place to make a holiday, Vienna. Yeah. For the live show, are there some gimmicks planned, like these vendor machines or these chicken grill things or stuff like that for the next live set?
Yeah, always working on food and thinking about food. So we'll have new food on the next tour.
Or a cage for Alex.
Yeah, well, we don't like people to see that cage because it's all these people are worried about cruelty to animals. So
Okay.
that includes guitarists.
guitarists are animals, actually.
Yes,
so
it's
yeah.
true.
Yeah, this is one thing I want to speak about. This is the way you don't take yourself too serious normally. Is it a good way to survive for nearly 40 years in this business?
Yeah, it is necessary. I think it's okay to take yourself seriously, but never take a guitarist seriously.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Guitarists?
Guitarists all over the world. I have a number in mind. I have heard you have played over 3,000 live shows in your career, estimated. Do you have an exact number?
I have no idea.
I read it some. I think it was years ago, so it may be
I
4,000.
don't think it's a good thing to count them, frankly. No.
Are there several shows you remember exactly, or it's just like a blur?
No,
So-
I remember at least 3 or 4 of them over the last 40 years. At least 3.
But you know in which city you're in normally when you play.
I always know where I'm at. We're not daffy yet. We still, yeah, we know where we are. We remember quite a few of the gigs. Yeah,
Because I met bands, they didn't.
yeah. Well, I can't speak for them.
Me too. Gary, it was very nice to have you.
Thank you.
And yeah, we hope
Nice
to
to
see
talk
you
to you.
on tour
Yeah.
next spring, and maybe someday in Austria before you retire.
I hope so.
Yeah, very nice talking.